Hey, this is Seth, and in this video, I want to share with you something very personal that I don't usually talk about on YouTube. And that is how I went from being a financial disaster in my 20s to going on to make six figures and make this course and help other people change their lives through digital marketing. And that's what changed my life, the digital marketing skills. But if you've watched my channel, you might think, oh, Seth has always had his act together. He's always had, been successful. That is not the case. And I wanted to share this with you to understand that, guys, wherever you're at, first of all, I was probably in a worse place than you financially, and you can change. You can transform your life with the right attitude, perseverance, and knowledge. Anybody can change their lives. It is totally possible. And you've seen it in my testimonials, other people doing that. I want to share the story of how that happened for me. But before I do that, please remember, if you like this video, please like it and subscribe to this channel for more inspiring and informative videos. So the year was 1999, and I just graduated college. So long ago, guys, there was no internet. There was no YouTube. There was no, Google was brand new. There was really no way to get information. You had to go to a library if you wanted to get a book on a topic. And I had come out of NYU Film School, which I was told was a very prestigious and respectable university that was going to help launch my filmmaking career. But the reality was the school itself was very expensive and remains expensive and completely impractical. You end up shooting a bunch of short films that nobody cares about, and you don't learn anything about actual feature film production, which is, I ended up making a course about this because nobody buys short films. They only buy features, and you're not taught that in film school. And you're not taught anything about the practical side of filmmaking or careers or money. So I came out with a very expensive, worthless art degree, and I had to figure out how to make money. Now, right out of school, I had an internship at Fox News, which was brand new at the time, and I had started in their sports department, which was kind of cool, and ended up working as an editor in the newsroom, doing very basic cuts, which I thought was kind of interesting because they'd be like, hey, we need a video of Bill Clinton getting off a plane. Yes, I'm that old. And I go, okay, and I hit some buttons and I give them a 30-second clip of Bill Clinton getting off a plane. That was my job for hours and hours a day. And then I even had to work overnights where I was working 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. just copying videotapes. So I remember thinking well, this is really weird because I have a job, so people were happy, my family's happy about that, but it has nothing to do with what I went to school for. And I don't want a career in this field. I want to do something else with my life. I ended up getting fired from Fox. What I remember is just the incredible sense of overwhelming confusion once I left the world of academia and school. When you guys are in high school, as challenging as high school is, there's some sense of order. There's your classes, you have 8 or 9 periods, and you're trying to get good grades, and the idea is you're going to go to college. And then, you go through the whole college application process, and then some of you guys go to college, and that's another situation where everything is very structured, and it seems like if you follow these rules, everything's going to be okay. So you go to all your classes, you get good grades, you graduate, and then you are in what they call the real world, where there is no structure, no instructions, and now suddenly people are telling you, you need money, you need to make money. And you're going, I said, well, wait a minute. Nobody talked to me about money for the last 16 years. I don't know anything about it. I was assuming someone would teach me about it, or when I got out, I could take my degree and somehow turn that into a job. And that is not how it works. I actually majored in film production from NYU, which was considered a good school, but nobody in the film industry cares about a film degree. I ended up making a blog and a course about this. And I had these artistic dreams, but the reality was I needed money for rent. And I didn't know even, how to get a job, what the jobs were, what pays well, what skills actually employers want. I knew nothing. So like most college graduates, I ended up working retail and restaurant jobs in the early part of my 20s. I remember waiting tables, which is fun in your early 20s, was very strange because a lot of my coworkers were also college graduates. One guy was actually had a master's degree. It was what are we doing? Our job consists of running around and bringing people their food. That doesn't require any academic knowledge. Why are we working here? Something was very, very off, but I always assumed it was my fault. I thought I must have missed something in those 16 years of school. There must have been a course or a teacher who covered how to make money, and I just missed it. And everyone else has got it right, and I'm an idiot. So I'm not going to say anything. So throughout my entire 20s, in the background was this looming pressure of money. And I actually ended up moving back with my parents because I just didn't have the money to continue living in New York City. And the only jobs I knew how to get were waiting tables. So I remember just having this desire for more in my life. I was apparently I have some creativity. I have a brain. I was good enough to get into this good school. I think I'm a little bit smart. So is there some more potential for me in life than just bringing bringing people their food, or getting occasional temp job where my job was to basically take, a bunch of phone numbers or names on a piece of paper and type it into a spreadsheet program. A lot of my jobs consisted of these types of things because I had no marketable skills. I didn't even know what a skill was. I did know how to edit and shoot video, but this is years before that became a valuable skill set. Now, thanks to the internet and online advertising, if you understand how to edit video, you could actually do very, very well. But back then, there was no market for it. And I just remember that crushing feeling of failure. I just felt like I have screwed up. My life is worthless. I cannot afford my own place to live. My parents are paying for my food. I can't even think about the things that a young man should be thinking about, like, starting a family, meeting someone, having a relationship, starting a family, providing for that family, travel, exploring the world. I couldn't think about any of that stuff because I was constantly under this pressure of finance, and the real confusion and the real pain and depression came from like not knowing what to do and feeling like I had done something wrong. And I really struggled like this for many, many years. I mean, I went through my 20s and I had some friends and I had good times here and there, but I always had this pressure and always had this feeling of inadequacy because I didn't have the ability to support myself financially. What I did is I lived with my parents. I saved up enough money to move out to Los Angeles. And when I got there, I did discover that part of my problem at the time was that I was in a bad job market. I was in a small city in upstate New York. There weren't that many jobs to begin with. In LA, there were a lot more jobs. And I basically said, I went to a temp agency and I said, look, I'm relatively smart. I know math. Find me something. And I ended up getting an accounting job, which at the time was actually very exciting for me. I mean, this is like really weird. I got an accounting job and I was also doing production gigs. So like I would work on a reality show or a movie as a PA, which means you're basically a grunt. You're just sort of bringing people their lunch one day, and then I would do an accounting or an office job. And the temp agency got me this accounting job where the guy who hired me, believe it or not, you're not gonna believe this, he liked me because I was quiet and because he seemed like I'd be really easy to train. But he did, he kind of took me under his wing and taught me about accounts receivable. And I worked at this job. I actually enjoyed it for the first like 6 months, which was unbelievable. I would go to parties and people would say like, what do you do? And I'd be like, oh, I'm in accounting. It's so cool. I'm learning how to balance a ledger. And they'd look at me like, okay, that sounds boring. But I was excited because someone was teaching me something and I felt a certain sense of self-worth, honestly, of just having a job that was important to that company and being valued for what I was doing, which I had not felt, I don't know, waiting tables or doing a retail job or something like that. Now, this was not, as you know, the end all be all for my career, but it was the beginning of something. But I worked there for like a year, and this happened to me a lot, as I got very bored after about 8 months. And then I ended up getting laid off because of the financial problems in the world in 2008. Yes, I'm that old. And during that time is when I had my first experience and exposure to digital marketing, because about 2008, 2009 is when digital marketing, Google started to get bigger and bigger and bigger. You have to understand, guys, from 2000 to 2008, it was just sort of slowly growing. And I went to this, a friend of mine, Q, he invited me to this seminar, and he was always inviting me to cool seminars, this guy Q. And I went, and it was about how to like create your own business online using a website. I've used those. And I went to this presentation by this guy named Joel Bauer, and he basically was explaining how to create a funnel and a lead magnet, which is where you have a website that gives people an offer. You guys have seen like my free webinar that, you can share a bit of yourself and your knowledge and expertise and help communicate with strangers on the internet about something you have to share with them. As I was watching this presentation, I was so excited. I was unbelievably moved. I couldn't explain why. I knew something big was behind this, but the possibilities of the internet just started to just show up in front of my face, like in Limitless. Like I had only used the internet like most people to do emails or look at funny cat videos or post on Facebook. And I was like, oh my God, I could communicate with thousands of people using digital marketing. I can talk about things I'm passionate about. I could talk about film. I could talk about spirituality, which is something also very passionate about. I can communicate. I have a voice. This was very exciting. And I can reach all these different people, and this is how you do it. Plus, I was like, this is business. He's basically explaining how when you bring people into your funnel or get people interested, now you could potentially sell them on a product or service that you have. And I left that seminar moved. In fact, there's a video, I'm thinking about it, there's a video of me online somewhere of me like crying after the seminar, which I think is very funny because it's like, I never show my emotions like that, but I was so moved by the possibility I saw in this thing of digital marketing. I just knew something was going to change in my life. So after I did the seminar, I started going on Google and like researching digital marketing and lead magnets. And I read this book called The Renegade Network Marketer, which is all about lead magnets. Again, giving away free information in order to get people's contact information so that you can follow up with them with products and services. I learned about business. I didn't know what business was. It just seemed like this thing that you had to go to business school for. I thought you needed a fancy degree to understand business. But then I started to see that it's really just about solving people's problems. And I would spend all this time on the web, and I was just learning, and I was downloading information, and I started dating this woman who was into internet marketing already, and she gave me all these pamphlets. It was literally printouts about affiliate marketing and email marketing. It was amazing. It was really amazing. It was like many years ago. Boy, I get excited when I'm teaching this to other people and I see how they get excited. And I didn't know exactly why I was so passionate, but it was like learning something new, something that was interesting to me. You know, I mean, learning in school becomes so dead to most people, but this was like exciting and interesting. And then I bought this product called Site Build It, which taught me all about SEO. But I didn't even know what SEO was, and it explained it in this very easy to follow videos. And I built my first website called Film School Secrets, which is still up now. I basically put together an SEO optimized website explaining why film school was a waste, because previously I had actually written a book. I forgot to mention that, but a lot happened in my 20s where I'd realized what a waste film school was, and I wanted to basically tell other young people about it and tell them what to do instead. And I wrote a book called Film Fooled. And then I said, you know what? I'm gonna make a website, and then I want to give, more advice to young people, stuff I wish I had known when I went to school. And I built this website, and I put up all these SEO optimized pages, and people started coming to my website. I couldn't believe it. Strangers were coming to my website. It was like a feeling of kind of like a mixture of like power and satisfaction and respect, and just like a lot of these emotions and a lot of these feelings I hadn't felt, when I was just you're just waiting tables, or you're, typing data into a computer, sitting in an office for 8 hours a day. I felt like my communication skills, my language, my ability to talk, now had value and utility, and it was very, very exciting. Not only that, I'm learning all this stuff, and I'm just enjoying it. So what I tried to do for like a full year was build SEO optimized blogs, which means blogs that would get this type of organic, free traffic from Google, from people searching for things. I tried everything: car insurance, t-shirt design. I did reviews on various online products. I put together like 10 or 12 different of these blogs, trying to make money by referring people to other products and services. And I didn't make much money doing that. But I was inspired. I remember I had a girlfriend at the time, and a Friday night she wanted to go out to the bar, go party, and I was like, I'm sorry, honey, I have to work on this blog. I was absolutely obsessed, and I hadn't felt that inspired by anything for a long time. I can't even remember when the last time I had felt that way. And I wasn't getting any results, but I didn't care. And that's when I knew. I talked with one of my friends later, who has a very great attitude. We're business partners. We're very good friends. And he said, this is the thing I could see. You kept going. You didn't give up even when you weren't getting any results. That's where you know you're going to be successful, because you just keep going. And I started to work on my film blog, because that was what I was really passionate about. And the film blog started getting more and more and more traffic. And then I put together a little course called Film School Secrets, giving people basically a little, as I said, like out of a boot camp of what to do instead of film school, how to get on real film sets, how to network with real filmmakers, what to actually, the stuff I learned in my 20s that I wish I had known and I didn't learn in film school. And that started to sell, and I started to make money with it, which was unbelievable. I was only selling it for like $70, but I have to tell you, like the first check I ever got from ClickBank, I think I was using, the first check I ever got for, I don't know, it was like $110 or $150. I can't explain to you how exciting this was for me, because I had taken my own experience, my own knowledge, my own passion, turned it into something that helped people, and then I got paid. And there was just something so gratifying about being paid through something I had some passion for. Whereas I had been taught to believe for the previous 10 years that kind of like money is this very dry thing. You have to kind of sacrifice your time. You have to work in an office and do stuff you don't like to make money. But I did something I liked, and I made money, and I was just so excited. And the whole world was just so exciting. I started to make like $500 a month, and then I think at my peak during that time, I think I was making like $1,100 a month, which was so thrilling. And I was getting emails from students who I'd helped, and I loved answering their questions. It was so great, but it wasn't enough to live on. So I remember like a lot of people who sometimes, this is another reason I'm kind of critical of these courses that talk about, you're going to make $10,000 in 30 days. I'm like, no, this takes time to learn these skills, apply them, and deliver value to people in such a way that you deserve to receive that much money. But for me, I was still in this learning process, and I ended up having to get a job as a telemarketer. And I had decent sales and communication skills, and I actually got a job selling Google ads to realtors, which if you have to do telemarketing, marketing, which I had sold credit cards. I had done all sorts of stuff that I hated. This was good because I knew I was helping these realtors out, but it's still very, very unpleasant work because you're on the phone like a robot, 8 hours a day, reading from a script. It's kind of dehumanizing. It's very unpleasant. While I worked there though, it gave me enough money to support myself. And I was on Craigslist like I had often been, and I did not have any idea that there were jobs related to what I was doing. I was just trying to, I want to make this money with my course or some affiliate thing or SEO or PPC. I saw this Google like caught the corner of my eye when I was looking for jobs, and it said Google technician. And I was like, what's that? And this guy, Pete, who said he was VP of the company, emailed me and said, hey, we really liked your resume. We'd love for you to come in and have an interview. And I was like, yes. And actually, I remember I actually got into a car accident on the way to the interview. I remember I was so excited about it, and I was like on the precipice of something about to change my life. And I found this does happen in life sometimes. You're about to make a big change. Sometimes obstacles may pop up. I got into a car, a little fender bender, and was almost late, but I pushed through it, and I got to the interview on time somehow. And I remember I was so nervous and so like, I just had so much stress. It actually helped me in a way because I was talking kind of like this, a little bit like very energetic. I remember going in there thinking, oh, I'm going to try to be very calm and composed and professional because this seems like a very professional place. But then they started asking me questions about digital marketing and what I'd done. And I started telling them about the film school blog and SEO and how I taught myself. And I just forgot about all that. I was so wired. I was just like, yeah, I did this and this. And they absolutely loved it. We geeked out for like 2 hours just talking about affiliate marketing and, course marketing and SEO and PPC. And we had such a great time. And it was really funny because at the end, it was like we were shaking hands and he was kind of smiling at me. And he's like, well, I really can't say anything now because we have to interview some other people. But he was like, well, just like make sure you answer your phone next week. And I was like, sure. And so then I was working at the telemarketing job and I got a call and he was like, we'd like to hire you. And I was just like, oh my God, that's so awesome. I actually negotiated up the salary or the payment a little bit. It wasn't a lot. It was like $16 an hour at the time, which was, not a lot now. It was a little bit more back then, but it was enough for me to work there full time, support myself at the time and learn. And most importantly, what I remember is that my parents were coming for a visit. And I remember just, how it is with your parents, like not having a job or having a job that you hate. It's just not a great conversation with your parents, but they came in and it was like, I was like, I got this amazing job. I'm so excited. I basically, did all this work to get qualified to get this job. And they were so excited for me. I remember, and I actually treated them to dinner. My mom was really happy about that. Just the fact that I had put that thought into it. And I was just so excited to get this job in digital marketing. I remember the excitement of getting paid to be involved in something that I found interesting and where I would be using my brain and my ideas to do the job rather than just being like a robot for somebody else, like delivering them food or dialing the phone. I remember when I got to the job, I remember I told them I didn't have that much experience and they were like, don't worry, we're going to train you. And like literally they handed me like 30 accounts with like $110,000 a month in ad spend. I was like, what? And like, don't worry about it. And the VP of the company, who was my supervisor, actually sat next to me and basically mentored me for the first year and taught me all this stuff about Google and also helped me be very relaxed when I was handling these accounts. Even though it was other people's money, I got very confident. I built up my skill set. And, every time I went to work, it was just great to go to work and actually be excited about what you were doing and what you were learning. And it was a great group of guys. I learned so much about Google. And then I was there for about a year and a half. And what was really funny is I always had these entrepreneurial desires and I ended up leaving that job and working on my own stuff. And I ended up, doing some part-time gigs. And the funny thing though is that I still didn't realize the earning potential of this field. Like I was making like $18, $20 an hour at this agency, which for me, I was my minimalist. So like that was a good amount for me. But I was talking with someone who I'd worked with and he was saying, yeah, I'm on LinkedIn and these recruiters are always coming after me. And I said, what's a LinkedIn? I literally didn't even know what that website was, but basically got on LinkedIn and then reached out to some recruiters and like showed them my resume and what I'd done. And they were one guy, really nice guy from the East Coast, looked at my resume and my experience. He said, oh, you just need to change your resume to look like this and you've got a lot of valuable experience. And I was like, really? I was like, yeah, I guess I've managed $1 million in ad spend. I didn't even realize that was so valuable. Guy literally sent me back a corrected resume. I'm forever grateful for that. And then I applied to a couple of jobs I had seen on a couple of different websites, the Cybercoders website. And the guy at Cybercoders reached out to me. And again, this is about, I think 2 years after I got my first job in this field. And he said, yeah, we really like your resume. Let me talk to you about this opportunity. And he told me about this in-house job, which means in-house in-house means instead of working in an agency where you're working with 30 accounts, you're going to work with one client in their actual office. And he basically coached me on how to talk to the potential employer. And I remember I had never made more than $45,000 a year, but he was like, these guys are really well funded. You should ask for, I said, well, what should I ask for? He's like, well, ask for 80. And I was like, okay. It was just so incomprehensible to me. But I said, okay, I'll take, you know what you're talking about. I went into the interview. I remember geeked out with the guy. We really got along. I really was excited about what I thought I could do for their company. I wanted to bring a lot of creative ideas. And then at the end, I was like, listen, I just want to let you know, I need you to offer me at least $80,000. And I remember he was like, okay, I got it. And I remember walking out of the room it was like in a movie where it's kind of like, okay then, walking out very calm. And then getting to my car and being like, holy shit, did I just say that? Did I just say I want $80,000 from somebody? I've never made that much before. And then I, let it go. And then a week later, I got the offer letter for $75,000 plus bonuses. And I just was out of my mind. And I was like, it's not, guys, I talk about money on this channel a lot. It's not just about the money. The money represents something, especially in a world where money, is such a stress for people. It represents a form of respect and value. And the fact that I was making this much money was they respect the knowledge I'm bringing to this job, and they're offering me bonuses. And when I actually started working at a job, man, I've never worked that hard in my life because I had an incentive. I enjoyed my coworkers, I enjoyed the work, but the fact that I was getting a performance bonus meant I'm going to work even that much harder. I'd never had that kind of passion in a job. In the first job, I was definitely passionate, but I was even more passionate here. And this is where I started to see why people love digital marketing jobs is because it's like a puzzle you're always solving every day, and you're rewarded for your performance. And it's so different from other fields. And I've interviewed so many people in other fields, people who come from the medical field, or whether it's nursing or engineering or another different field. And it's when you're in a job where you're not treated with respect or appreciated for what you're doing, you're not given flexibility like people I was given in this job. I don't know, it just it's really bad for your morale. And in this job, I was just given so much respect for all the results I was getting for the company, and I was getting promoted. I just really, really loved that. I couldn't believe how different things were from where it was before. So when I look back at just how much my life had changed from my 20s, where I was struggling so much, to being in this position where I was making six figures, doing something I actually liked, being respected and valued for my contribution, and the financial freedom. I remember actually at that job, I was still driving my mom's old 2001 Honda Accord, and my supervisor was like, "You're thinking of getting a new car?" And I ended up leasing a really nice Lexus. And cars and houses, this is not the end game, okay? But it feels pretty good, at least for a period of time. I think when you're starting to build your confidence level up. And when I would drive around in that Lexus, and I loved that car, I loved how it felt, I loved how it drove. I always felt good, just because I'm in my commute. I had to commute an hour every day, and just sitting in these very comfortable seats and knowing that I was able to provide that for myself was just very, very satisfying. The irony is, now that I've moved on to entrepreneurship and, teaching the course and traveling, now the last car I had was a Chevy Volt because I wanted to actually save money. The more money I made, now I want to save more money. But it all started with these digital marketing skills. And that's what the inspiration for this course came from, this transformation that I had myself, which is why I think when I made the course, and you can hear it, a lot of people say it in the videos, there's a lot of energy, and I want to inspire people because this was a big transformation for me. It wasn't just a career change. It was my whole life changed and opened up so many possibilities for me. So thank you for listening to me ramble on about this. I hope you enjoyed the story. And, guys, that's where all this came from. And, that's why I continue to share these skills with other people, because it really touches me when I hear other people have similar stories of how they were really unhappy in some other career path, or they come out of high school and they don't know what to do, or they came out of college and they didn't know what to do, and they get these skills and now they have this career that they're passionate about. They get to be creative and analytical. They make really good money. They often have remote jobs with flexibility. They're getting a lot of, now they have the ability to support themselves, to, provide for their families, just all the important stuff in life. It's very fulfilling. That's why I'm still doing this after many years. So again, thanks for listening to this story. If you do want to know more about how I've been able to help people have this same kind of journey from 0 to 60K within a year in digital marketing, click the link below for the free webinar, or you can click the link below that for the actual full training that has helped people level get into this field, following a similar path that I just laid out, learning the skills, generating experience, applying for jobs, and taking advantage of this opportunity that is still here many years after I first got into this field. Digital marketing continues to grow, continues to expand. All the new technological innovations that are happening, even AI, are just going to keep growing the industry. It's a very exciting industry with a lot of creativity, a lot of good things to look forward to. So I hope you enjoyed listening to me. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below, and I'll see you in the next video.